In 1744, John Wesley wrote these words, "If I die with more than a few pennies in my pocket, call me a thief and a robber." These words have stuck with me and at times even stung. Wesley challenged many of those early Methodists to consider what money meant to them and what it meant to be content with what they had. And what were those resources to be used for in their lives? I say Wesley's words sting because they challenge me to wrestle with the resources that I have been blessed with. I have been given many things, and yet how am I employing them for the sake of God's kingdom in the world? His words have caused me to ponder what really makes me content in this world. And are the resources that I have been given, are they really mine? Have I been blessed to be a blessing? And if so, how am I using those resources to bless others? Yet while Wesley's words can sting, they are also inspiring to me. They inspire me to consider how indeed we may bless the world with the resources we have been given. I'm reminded of a story from Shane Claiborne, who was a Christian writer, who tells of a time when he went to Calcutta to visit Mother Teresa. While there, he got to experience the great ministries that Mother Teresa and others had created for the poorest of the poor in Calcutta. One day, he was visiting an orphanage, and while he was there, he learned that one of the boys' birthdays was that day. And so he and some of his friends conspired together to give him a gift. They decided that they needed to give him an ice cream cone. So they went out and bought an ice cream cone, thinking that probably he had never had ice cream. They pulled the kid to the side, and they said, "Hey, we have a birthday gift for you." And they pulled out this ice cream cone. He said immediately this kid's eyes lit up and he got so excited and he turned to all of his friends and he yelled, "We have ice cream!" Immediately Shane was scared to death what that meant. But this young boy took the one ice cream cone that he had and he lined up all of his friends one by one and he went down the line and he let every child have a lick of his ice cream cone. It was a wonderful act of generosity. Such generosity is life-giving. It is inspiring. There was great joy in the child who shared the ice cream. There was great joy in those who witnessed it, and there was great joy in those who received that generosity. Extravagant generosity is inspiring. It breathes life into us and into others. I pray that my offerings bring life not only to myself, but really that it brings life to others and that it inspires others. When Wesley wrote these words, that he hoped that when he died he had but just a few pennies in his pocket, he did so knowing that when we are generous, it is life-giving. It is life-giving to us and to others. While his words may be shocking, he hoped that people would discover the joy of giving and its power to transform. Of course, Wesley wasn't offering a new idea, but he challenged and inspired others just like Jesus inspired. Over and over again throughout the Gospels, we hear of Jesus talking about sacrificial giving. Certainly, a tithe asks us to consider what our values are, but extravagant generosity calls us to transformational living. It was this subject that Jesus often spoke about in his ministry. For instance, he pointed out this transformational giving of a woman who gave all that she had versus the one who gave little. He challenged the rich man to go and sell everything that he had and give it to the poor. He told the parable of the Good Samaritan who crossed cultural boundaries to care for a Jew. We know the story all too well. And this Samaritan went above and beyond and gave extravagantly to an injured man. He bound up his wounds. He risked his purity. He paid for his room. He gave extra to the innkeeper. He went out of his way to give life to a broken man. He even promised the innkeeper that if any more expense was to be incurred, he would pay for it. Such generosity is inspiring. Wesley wrote what he did about giving all that he had and having nothing left, knowing that generosity is life-giving to us and all those around. In regards to financial giving, we are inviting you to give sacrificially so we can see these realities of more ministries in our community come to fruition. I personally understand some of the sacrifices it requires and the decisions and the prayers that are being prayed when it comes to our capital campaign. But I can't wait to see what God does with our generosity and when we are able to cancel our debt and our facility is repaired and we can create ministries and do things that God desires us to do with such generosity. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you for going above and beyond your normal gifts. Today, as we think about extravagant generosity, I hope you wrestle with the idea of generosity and contentment. I pray that you are both challenged and inspired by extravagant generosity, challenged by the story of a kid who gave all his friends licks on his own ice cream cone for his birthday, challenged by the idea of John Wesley and dying with just a few pennies because he had given it all away, challenged by the Good Samaritan who went above and beyond for the sake of another. Our generosity really can transform lives of people today and the lives of those in the future. What might it be like to be a Good Samaritan today?